Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first edition of the Dude Picks to counter the dog picks that you saw in our pilot episode, hopefully. If you haven't, the link will be down in the description bar. Feel free to check it out. It's adorable.
Right.
And hey there, bud. Now, my name's Preston. This is my man DeMario.
What up?
We're going to sit here. We're going to try and do some. We're going to do our picks real quick. We're going to talk about some of the key points and try to make our educated discussions about the season. So, we're going to start with the NFL kickoff game featuring my Atlanta Falcons going to Philadelphia to take on the Super Bowl champion Eagles. As you know, they played in the divisional round last year, and it was a very tight game. The Eagles won 15-10 right before taking down the Vikings en route to defeating the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Now, we are filming this before we have determined what the status of Carson Wentz is, so they have not yet decided who the starter is. So we have to kind of keep in mind whether the possibility of Nick Foles starting exists. Now, Dorian, you kick it off. What is your prediction for this game? And I'll give mine after that.
I think the Falcons start their road campaign in good fashion. I think the Falcons will go out to Philadelphia and get a win. Going against the grain on this because we are talking about the Super Bowl champions here. So, but I have the belief that Atlanta's going to right the ship. Think Sarkisian is going to have that offense fired up. Defense already is doing a great job already. They did a good job last year and the year before. So, my pick's Falcons.
All right. Well, I'm going to be a little bit of a homer if you couldn't tell from the attire in the background. But
Homer.
Don't.
Where's Marge Simpson when you need her? I'm joking. Anyway.
So I think that because it was such a close game, and last year it was in a cold weather Philadelphia game, and while this still is in Philadelphia, the weather's not going to affect the Falcons as much. They came within one play of managing to win that game. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say that my Falcons win it in a close game, even if Carson Wentz does come back. But I do think that Carson Wentz is going to give them a significantly better chance of winning. But my pick is Falcons. All right, moving on. Now we have an AFC matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Colts obviously are going to have Andrew Luck coming back from an injury. There's still some questions about whether or not he's going to be able to return to his Pro Bowl form. And, pre-injury, it was obvious that you would take Andrew Luck over Andy Dalton any day.
True.
But I'm not really going to look at that so much. I'm going to look at the fact that Indianapolis' offensive line is still extremely questionable. They did get Quentin Nelson in the first round, but with Carlos Dunlap and Geno Atkins in that front four, I think Andrew Luck's going to be running for his life most of the game.
And you would think that, a team that has an Andrew Luck that has been hurt for a season and a half with a bad shoulder, you would think that they would upgrade their offensive line enough to the point where they would be able to protect him.
But you'd be wrong.
Well, and I agree with Preston on this, is that Andrew Luck's probably going to be running for his life the whole game.
So, all that being said, because of the strength of the front four for Cincinnati, and, Andrew Luck has almost 2 years of rust he's got to shake off, I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals winning on the road, I think. Shit. Probably should check that. Yeah. We're going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals winning on the road against the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm going to take the Colts in the upset. Because obviously the Bengals are probably going to be heavily favored in that game because nobody really knows about the whole Andrew Luck thing. I think Andrew Luck's going to pull it off. It's going to be a low-scoring affair, but I'm going to go Colts on this one. All right, so our next matchup is going to be the Bills versus the Ravens. Now, looking at this matchup, I've been watching, quite a few of the preseason games been going on. On the Bills side, there's obviously, quarterback, not really controversy, but more quarterback story, if you will, with Josh Allen being the top pick. He showed some really good signs of handling himself in the pocket. He actually made a really nice move to throw a touchdown in the game recently, and he's been doing really well. Of course, Peterman could get the shot, and also too, you got AJ McCarron, who actually was injured, but apparently his injury wasn't that bad. So, and that's lucky, by the way, if you didn't know that. But anyway,
star of the show right there.
Yes, he is. All right, and now on the Ravens side, I'm thinking, Joe Flacco. Yeah, Flacco's back. and he's going to be awesome. You know what I'm saying? So I think that he'll do a pretty good job. You know, kind of looking at some of the new pieces they got, I would say, you know, like Michael Crabtree and some other guys as well. Defense is, you know, looking pretty good. I'm going to go Ravens on this one.
You know, I'm thinking this something a little bit similar. I'm actually going to give the edge to the Ravens because whether or not you agree with Flacco being a good quarterback at this stage, he is more experienced than whoever they're going to roll out at quarterback for the Bills, which look like he'll most likely be Josh Allen. It could be Nathan Peterman. A.J. McCarron, his injury, we don't know the extent of that yet.
True.
So, with the fact that they did go ahead and draft, Hayden Hurst, he might be out, and they did get Mark Andrews out of Oklahoma. They did give him the weapons he needs to do that Flacco dink and dunk. So I'm going to go ahead and give the edge to the Ravens and say they win this one too. Next up, we have an NFC South matchup featuring the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to New Orleans to take on the New Orleans Saints.
Right.
The New Orleans Saints were a little bit of a surprise last year, going from perpetual 7-9 to a Minneapolis miracle away from going to the NFC Championship game. Now, as you know, Jameis Winston is suspended for the first 3 games of the season, which means it's going to be Fitzmagic going up against Drew Brees and the Saints. So I think we can pretty much stop it right there and say the Saints are going to win this one by a country mile. It's not even going to be close. It's going to be ugly. Mike Evans is going to make some plays, but, you know, with Tampa Bay's defensive coordinator being Mike Smith, he used to be our head coach, it's going to be a bloodbath. Michael Thomas is just going to rip them to shreds. I'm going New Orleans Saints, even though it pains me to say that.
Yeah, I'm going Saints as well. I think they're going to throttle the Buccaneers worse than Verizon's data. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty good game. But I see the Saints coming out on this one.
I think it's just going to be a bloodbath. But we're both going Saints. I think that's a pretty common sense pick. We'll see what happens. Maybe Fitzmagic can pull another, 2015 season out of himself.
Right. All right, guys. So the next matchup that we got is the Texans Patriots, and right. Well, you know, we both have an axe to grind with the Patriots, but we're not going to go there. Texans on the road. Look, the last time the Texans played against the Patriots, Deshaun Watson was having the game of his life, going toe to toe, blow for blow with Tom Brady. Now, this time, Deshaun Watson, he's back off the ACL injury. Let's see what he does. Is he going to be the bonding man, or is he going to fold like cheap tent? Let's see. So, I believe, and I'm going against the grain on this one. I believe the Texans will go to Foxborough and get a win, much like how Kansas City did the same thing last year against the Patriots.
Shut down that 16-0 hype real quick.
Oh yeah.
So, this is a matchup I really am sorely tempted to pick the Texans because I love their defense. I love Deshaun Watson, and I think he's the best quarterback to come out of last year's draft. And, you know, DeAndre Hopkins is a criminally underrated receiver. And, you know, then you look at the fact the Patriots are basically Julian Edelman and then, you know, the guy from Kroger who checked out Bill Belichick one time. Now, unfortunately, I have to take into account the fact that they have the Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader pairing between Belichick and Tom Brady.
Let the hate flow through.
You did not see Belichick saying that, Darth Hoodie.
Right.
So, as you know, I'm a Falcons fan. I've seen Tom Brady pull some black magic out of his ass. And because of that, I have to pick the New England Patriots.
It makes him so sick to say it as well. It's gonna be true shit.
That's my pick.
Yeah, I'll get you some Tums.
Give me some whiskey. So, next up, we got the 49ers going up against the Minnesota Vikings in Minneapolis. Now, you probably cannot miss the fact that there has been an absolutely ridiculous amount of hype around Jimmy Garoppolo, and I personally am not buying it. People always tried to say that Kyle Shanahan's what made Matt Ryan's season that year. But if you looked at his record before, RG3, whoever the hell the Cleveland Browns had at quarterback, when he came to Atlanta, we called him a quarterback killer. I don't think that he's going to be able to put that much magic into Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think he was overhyped in his performances last year. We're talking about a man who did seven touchdowns against 5 interceptions versus Deshaun Watson having 18 touchdowns and, 7 or 9 interceptions.
Yeah, exactly.
And Garoppolo had the advantage of sitting behind one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Right.
I just do not believe it. I think he's going to go up to Minnesota, and I think that defense is going to crush his soul. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings led by Kirk Cousins, and I think they're going to run away with it.
Well, I got to keep it in the Bay, even though the Niners are just a rival of ours. And when it comes to Raiders Niners, I mean that's just what it is. It's just Raiders all day. But I'm gonna keep it in the Bay on this one. I think Jimmy G is gonna come out there and light it up. I have a feeling that the Niners are actually gonna come out first game and actually kind of try to put themselves atop of the NFC West pecking order. However, I think the Rams, which comes at a later discussion when we talk about the Rams, will be the eventual winners of that division. So I'm going to go Niners.
All right. See if the hype machine can pull it off.
Okay, guys, next matchup. We have the Tennessee Titans going up against the Miami Dolphins. Okay, so first off, Tennessee, new coach, Mike Vrabel.
Vrabel, I think.
It's Mike.
Is it Mike?
It's Mike.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mike Vrabel, new coach, new system, Marcus Mariota. I believe that Mariota is going to have a pretty good season. He actually did pretty good in the playoffs last year, especially when he threw that pass himself. Remember that? Okay. So I thought that was pretty awesome. I think that Tennessee is actually going to be one of those teams that are actually going to come out and kind of shock a lot of people. And the Dolphins, to me, just still don't have enough. I'm just not a believer in Tannehill. I just never will be. So I'm going with the Titans on this one.
Well, my first inclination would be to go with the Titans. What I'm really looking at is actually the running back matchup there, because Derrick Henry for the Tennessee Titans and Kenyon Drake for the Miami Dolphins, they were running mates at Alabama together. They came out in the same draft. Drake was sitting behind Jay Ajayi before he went to the Eagles, and Henry was sitting behind, who was it? God, what's his name?
It was DeMarco Murray.
DeMarco Murray, yeah.
Yeah.
We're in Oklahoma. We should know that.
Oh, well.
Anyway, so I'm going to go with the hometown team here, even though I really don't have that much faith in their wide receiver core. I think that Tannehill, with his flexibility, his ability to run, I do think that gives them a little bit of an edge. And their defense isn't half bad. I think they're going to win it out in a squeaker.
Squeaker.
Up next, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to New York City, or rather East Rutherford, to take on the New York Football Giants. Now, obviously, one of the big stories later in the offseason / preseason was Jalen Ramsey's, shall we say, colorful remarks.
his rhetoric.
His in-depth analysis about different quarterbacks, including Eli Manning, and the fact that he's only good because of Odell Beckham Jr. Someone might need to show him a couple of Super Bowls before Odell was even in the league, but that's neither here nor there.
David Tyree.
So the
I'm joking.
The thing here is the Jacksonville's defense is nasty, but their quarterback is Blake Bortles. So with Odell Beckham coming back from injury, along with basically their entire receiving core, Evan Ingram taking some steps forward, and I'm going to give the hometown team none of the benefit of the doubt, though. I'm going to say that the Jacksonville Jaguars, with Blake Bortles being a very serviceable quarterback, they're going to win this one, and Eli Manning is not going to have a very good time of it.
Okay, I see it. I see it as it being a Jaguars win as well. Defense just way too potent. I mean, Jalen Ramsey's awesome. Calais Campbell, guys that anchor that defense, guys going to come out balling. So I got Jags in this one.
All right. So it seems like we are all in agreement. The two of us, and I believe Loki picked the Jaguars too.
So let's see if all three of us get that one.
Although since we all three picked it, odds are we are all going to be wrong.
All right, next matchup. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers going on the road to face the Cleveland Browns. Okay.
One win in the last 32 games. I don't know. Cleveland fans, have you ever heard that before? I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned that.
Right. But no Baker Mayfield starting on week 1. So all you Browns fans out there, just hold your horses. I know you want them to get in, but you know your guys' history with starting the new guy. Okay? See every quarterback y'all have ever drafted.
Y'all have a massive quarterback cemetery of rookies.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but things are looking up for Cleveland. Tyrod Taylor, doing pretty good in camp. Josh Gordon is back. Let's see how long that lasts. Okay. And then, this guy, right? All in all, I think Cleveland will try to make it interesting, but again, Steelers, being the juggernaut that they are, the killer bees, what they call them, Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, just too much. So I got Steelers in this one.
All right, hot take time. Because the Steelers are notorious for playing down to their opponents, and I think Tyrod Taylor, or is it Two-Rod, whatever we're supposed to be calling him now, he's an underrated quarterback. I think Buffalo did him dirty, and I think he's going to be more than enough for the Browns to win a decent number of games. And with it being in Cleveland, and with Le'Veon Bell still not being in camp, and he's going to be polishing off a lot of rust in live action.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Cleveland Browns. I think they managed to pull it off, and I think they can do it. Tyrod Taylor, Jarvis Landry, and they've got Nick Chubb from the Georgia Bulldogs coming in to take care of some running back duties. Cleveland Browns are going to take care of it.
Browns fans, you heard it here first. You have a Falcons fan that is actually picking you in week 1. So Christmas is coming early, apparently. So
hey, at a certain point, it's depressing to see the same team at the bottom of the rankings. We're ready to see you guys succeed. LeBron left, y'all need a win.
There you go. So next matchup, AFC West, my division. All right, Chiefs, Chargers. Chiefs on the road, going against the LA Chargers. Okay, so Patrick Mahomes. Okay, big deal about him. Everybody's been ranting and raving about him. I don't think he's going to be that successful on the road. I think that Chargers defense is going to overwhelm him. I know that he has some great weapons. He has Kelsey and he has Tyreek Hill. But all in all, I think that Chargers defense is going to wear them out at home. So I got Chargers.
I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. I just don't think that Patrick Mahomes has got enough seasoning under his belt yet to go into any kind of hostile environment to start out, especially with the distance he has to travel from Kansas City back out to L.A.
Right.
And, Phillip Rivers, the man's a little bit interception prone, but he's still one of the top quarterbacks in the league, even in the twilight of his career.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to say that the Chargers are gonna win it. I think it will be fairly close, but I think that experience is going to win out over youth this time.
Well, see, and then divisional matchups are always going to be tough anyway. So, you know your opponent very, very well. So, it's going to be a battle of attrition, but I still think the Chargers come out and win.
Yeah, especially with Marcus Peters not taking care of that secondary.
Exactly.
He's over in L.A. now.
Yeah.
Kansas City's defense, some guys are going to have to step up and prove themselves. They did not.
Yeah,
they did not perform well in the two big preseason games, week 2 and week 3. They were 14-3 against the Falcons.
And then you got Eric Berry. He's just going to be on an island by himself. So it's just he got a lot of other guys around him that are kind of unproven. So
we're both going Chargers on this one.
Yep.
And I think Loki went with the Chiefs on that one.
Yep. So we'll see how that pans out.
Up next, we got the Dallas Cowboys going to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Dak Prescott versus Cam Newton. I have a lot to say about this, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet. The Carolina Panthers are always inconsistent. Cam Newton, to this point in his career, has never had back-to-back winning seasons, so that does not bode well for them overall.
Yeah, that's true.
And the Dallas Cowboys, with Des Bryant and Jason Witten gone, we're pretty much looking at lineup of who out wide, what in the slot, and I don't know at tight end. So outside of Dak Prescott, he's okay. I think he's a little bit overhyped, but I do think he's a good quarterback. Ezekiel Elliott's a top 5, top 3 running back.
True.
And Carolina's got a better defense overall.
And Ezekiel Elliott has something to prove this year because of the fact he was suspended for most of the season last year.
No, it was only about 6 games, I think.
Well, yeah, so he has something to prove. So we'll go ahead.
But I'm going to say the Carolina Panthers are going to win this one. Get off to a pretty strong start on the season. I don't necessarily see it being the neatest game, so to speak. It's going to be a little bit sloppy. But I'd say that the Carolina Panthers are going to be able to win this on strength of defense and just Cam Newton being an ungodly large man that can break tackles when he takes off and runs.
I'm going to go Panthers on this one as well, and the reason being is because of the fact that when you look at the Ezekiel Elliott factor, he has a great offensive line that he runs behind. They run block very, very well, as you've seen in previous games that they've had with him in the lineup. But however, when you watch film on someone who's very dominant, obviously the defense is going to key into what the offense likes to do. So I'm going Panthers on this one as well, just because of the fact that Panthers are at home. They're gonna be hyped up. They're gonna be just jacked up for the season. I don't give the Cowboys a whole lot. I think the Cowboys are gonna make it interesting, but at the end, Panthers prevail.
Now moving forward, for Sunday afternoon, one of the late games, we got the Cardinals and Redskins, which will be played in Arizona, and most likely, barring some, well, I would say unforeseen event, but barring Sam Bradford getting hurt, he's going to be the starter. And when he is healthy, he is a very good quarterback. And he's got some pretty good weapons around him. Larry Fitzgerald, the ageless wonder, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. And they've got a pretty solid defense overall. They got Patrick Peterson, who is arguably the best corner in the game.
True. And
they're running back David Johnson, who's been forgotten a little bit, being hurt last year. And you got to consider Washington's depth chart at running back. They just signed Adrian Peterson not too long ago, and after injuries to Darius Geis and Samaje Perine, I'm going to go with the hometown Cardinals for this game, based on their defense, and I would take a healthy Sam Bradford over Alex Smith just because he's able to stretch the field a little bit more. If you go back to his game week 1 last year before Case Keenum took over, he was throwing balls like they were on a zip line against the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, that's definitely true. For me, I'm going to go Redskins in this because of the whole Adrian Peterson factor that you did just allude to just a moment ago, with the running back situation. But I think Adrian Peterson has something to prove. I think he feels that he still has a lot more left in the tank. The Redskins took a gamble on him. Think it's going to work out. Facing his old team, back in his old stomping grounds in Arizona. Think he's going to do fairly well against that defense. Let's see what happens. I'm going Redskins.
I wonder if there's a Vegas line on the over-under of how many quarters that Sam Bradford plays. That's a cheap shot, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be. We'll check on that. We'll get back to you guys on that one.
Yep. I would definitely take the...
All right, so next matchup, we have the Seattle Seahawks going to Mile High Stadium to face the Denver Broncos. Now, with Denver, what I know and understand is that, new quarterback, Case Keenum. Coming in, to do this job here, I feel that he will do okay. He has some good receivers around him. He still has Demaryius Thomas out there. So their connection during the season should be interesting to watch to see what the continuity looks like. You got to still think about Von Miller in that Denver defense. They lost Aqib Talib. So we're going to see how much of a factor that plays into the secondary. But overall, I think the Broncos at home are going to come out fired up. So I think they get the win.
Yeah, I can't really argue too much because at this stage in time, the Seattle Seahawks are essentially Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, and then just everybody else.
Everyone else, exactly.
The Legion of Boom is gone. It is dismantled. In fact, I've started calling them the Legion of Whom. You don't know really who's there anymore. It's basically just Bobby Wagner is about the only one left.
Preston Drake, guys, he's here all week.
Hey, if y'all start using that term, I want credit. So, with all that being said, Seattle's defense is not what it used to be. Their offense, they did not draft or acquire any offensive line help for Russell Wilson. The man is a fantastic quarterback. Almost Houdini-esque in the way he's able to escape pressure. I don't think it's going to be enough. I still think that Denver defense with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, they are going to give him fits and nightmares. I think the Broncos are going to take this one pretty easy.
There you go.
Then there's an NFC North matchup between two of the oldest rivals in the NFL, the Chicago Bears going into Lambeau to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Now, you can never rule out Green Bay because Aaron Rodgers, much like Russell Wilson, is a little bit of a wizard. Let's, God forbid that man got an Infinity Gauntlet.
For all of you Marvel fans that know what that is, but if not, then okay.
Everybody's a Marvel fan now.
They should be.
Now, the Packers did sign Jimmy Graham. I am all too familiar with that man from his time in New Orleans. But I don't think that he is what he used to be, and I really don't think it was enough to help out Aaron Rodgers with people to throw to.
Huh.
You can only get the ball to Jimmy Graham so many times.
Exactly.
And I really, really love Chicago's running back core. Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen, they give defenses fits because of their versatility. They're both dual threat backs. And
and I mean to cut you off, but I really want to see what Mitchell Trubisky has in the tank this year. I want to see what he can do. I haven't really seen that much of him to really just kind of be on board with his quarterback play, but let's see what he got.
Yeah, and let's also not forget that Chicago's defense is actually pretty solid overall. They've got some good linebackers and a solid front four.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna go with the upset. I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bears. I think they can pull it off in Lambeau. I don't think it's going to be because of Trubisky. I think he's going to, keep him in it, but I think it's going to be because of the home run threat that Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen provide. They are right there with Atlanta in terms of their top two backs being just phenomenal.
Just studs. Okay. I'm going to go the other way. I think, Green Bay's hard to beat at Lambeau. It's just that mystique of Lambeau Field. I think the Packers come out strong. Aaron Rodgers, again, every year a perennial MVP candidate. So I picked the Packers in the win.
I haven't heard that one before.
Hey.
Somebody picks Packers to win at Lambeau. Breaking news. So we actually have the luxury of having two Monday night games. This first week, we're going to have an early one between the Jets and the Lions, which we'll be talking about here. The Jets obviously have their vaunted quarterback, Sam Darnold. He'll likely be starting unless they surprise us and decide to keep Teddy Bridgewater around and let him be the starter.
I don't see that happening.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think Darnold's going to be the starter. I mean, it's just
they're probably going to let him grow through the season.
Yeah, just let it rip.
So you got Darnold. You're going to be going up against Matthew Stafford, who is one of the best all time, at least in the last decade since he's been in the league, at coming back in the fourth quarter. He's a very clutch quarterback. He's got some solid receivers in Marvin Jones and Golden Tate. And I'm gonna have to say, I just don't think the Jets are a young team. They don't really have what it takes yet. I'm gonna take the Lions at home, although I do think this is kind of a pick the better of the worst, so to speak, if that even makes sense.
Well, to channel my inner Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. I am going with the New York Jets in this one. I think Sam Darnold's going to come out and have an awesome game. The Jets are young; they have a young team. However, I think they can pull off the win. So, going Jets. All right. So, last matchup of the day, and it's the best matchup of the day: Monday Night Football. The Rams versus the Oakland Raiders.
Hey, you're a Rams fan, right?
Are you freaking serious? Anyway, my Oakland Raiders, John Gruden, the $100 million man, coming back to coach after being in the booth for Monday Night Football, is now back with the Oakland Raiders to coach one of the best young quarterbacks in the league, Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, one of the best receivers in the league, and we have Jordy Nelson and some other offensive weapons as well, Martavis Bryant. Marshawn Lynch, beast mode. That's how we do. Okay. And we have also a guy who's been running all over preseason, Chris Warren. Let's see if this guy can make the team. This guy has been awesome. Okay. Our defense. I understand. Khalil Mack's not there. Let's try to get him in camp. Let's see what happens.
I wish he could be a Jet.
Yeah, well, let's hope not. But we need him on that defense. Our defense has been doing great. Arden Key has been really good. Shalik Calhoun has been showing his potential out there. Bruce Irvin, the list goes on. We got some really, really solid guys out there. Paul Gunther's defensive scheme is working very well. The Rams, they did really well last season, and for them to get as far as they've gotten. And their defense is going to be very formidable. Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib, Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald, question mark? What do you say, sir?
Well, now since I don't have the silver and black coursing through my veins, I'll give you a little bit of a. I feel like I can be a little bit more impartial here.
Oh boy, here we go.
Here's the deal. Beast mode. I don't think there are enough Skittles in the world to fuel him back to where he used to be. I'm taking Todd Gurley over Marshawn Lynch every day of every week until Todd Gurley's like 35.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh.
So, and then look at that defense, especially if Aaron Donald gets his money, he gets back in camp. That defense is nasty.
If guys, if.
Hey, you got to have the if for Mac.
Okay.
Got to be fair there.
Yeah.
So. You throw in these free agent acquisitions: Aqib Talib and Ndamukong Suh, Marcus Peters. They were already a really good defense. They are even better now. And Jared Goff is looking like a really good young quarterback. Sean McVay might be one of the most promising head coaches. As young as he is, he's still got a lot he can bring up, that he can think of, that he can bring out to improve and bring out the best of his team. I've got to say, even though I believe the game is in Oakland, I'm going to have to say the Rams are going to win this one, and, man, they're probably going to wipe the floor with you guys.
I highly doubt it. It's Raider Nation. We at home. First game. We're going to come out balling. That's what we do. Commitment to excellence. That's what we do. All right? Raiders for life.
Todd Gurley, don't make me look crazy. Came out of Georgia, running back university. You got this.
Silver and black, baby. That's what we do.
Hey everybody, thank you for watching today's first football discussion. So,
I know, I love you too, buddy. I love you.
We're gonna be doing this all through the season into the playoffs, and this little guy. Fun fact: he actually beat us in the preseason on his picks.
Yes, he did,
and we're kind of embarrassed about that. But he does watch a lot of football with me. So. Feel free to. He's actually on Twitter. He's Loki Odin's dog. Twitter handle @footballdogokc. Link down in the information section. Feel free to check him out and keep with us. See how we did next week. We'll get the scoreboard going. Thank you guys. Y'all have a wonderful week. Go Falcons.
Go Raiders.